When you think of North Korea, you think of hardship and deprivation. But did you know that Kim Jong-un lives in luxury few would dare imagine? Between his secret palaces, his yachts, and banquets fit for kings, the North Korean leader indulges in a lavish lifestyle while his people struggle to survive. Let's dive in. He is considered a demigod in his homeland. At the head of North Korea since 2011, Kim Jong-un lives in luxury and spends lavishly. Even though the UN has banned the export of luxury goods to North Korea since 2006, that doesn't stop the UN family from flaunting their luxury French bags, watches, and expensive cars. According to South Korean media outlet Chosun Ilbo, after just 5 years in power, the dictator had already spent over $4 billion on luxury goods alone. More than $2 billion is said to have been spent on high-tech equipment, $1.4 billion on luxury cars, but also $165 million on spirits, $52.5 million on cosmetics, $49 million on watches, $37.6 million on fur coats, $36 million on a yacht, and $7.11 million on jewelry. But rest assured, these luxurious purchases are not just for Kim Jong-un. If he spends so much, it's also to reward, or rather build the loyalty of those close to his party. After all, with all the money spent in his first 5 years in power, Pyongyang could have bought the equivalent of 1.5 million tons of rice for its population at a time when 40% of North Koreans were suffering from malnutrition. But one of the dictator's latest extravagances is his armored train, a 5-star bunker so heavy it can't exceed 60 kilometers per hour. Nicknamed the Walking Fortress, the train comprises a wagon at the front to check that the rails are in good condition, a central wagon occupied by the ruler and his trusted entourage, and a wagon at the rear for the rest of the crew and excess luggage. Despite its slightly vintage appearance, the train is equipped with high-tech flat screens so that the dictator can have live briefings. There are also bedrooms, conference rooms, and reception areas. Everything to ensure that Kim Jong-un lacks for nothing, even in the dictator's strictest privacy. When he travels, he only uses his own mobile toilet to prevent his enemies from collecting his feces to find out about his state of health. Another example of Kim Jong-un's billionaire lifestyle is his numerous properties between which he constantly navigates to cover his tracks. The best known of these is Ryeongsong, northeast of Pyongyang, in the heart of a 12-kilometer-long forest. Inside, you'll find an Olympic swimming pool, an athletic stadium, a race course, a racetrack, and a shooting range. But what's even more impressive is the security in place: electric fencing, minefields, checkpoints, and heavily armed soldiers. These above-ground facilities are complemented by fallout-resistant underground structures such as a military command headquarters, tunnels, and even a train station that provides access to his other residences. And finally, if there's one thing Kim Jong-un likes to put his money into, it's his army. Beyond the billions he spends on himself, the dictator is obsessed with his nuclear arsenal. Despite severe economic and agricultural difficulties, he maintains a colossal military budget for his country. Last year, 15% of the country's GDP went to the army. Since coming to power in 2011, about 200 missiles have been fired by North Korea. Although data is difficult to collect, according to the World Military Expenditures and Arms Transfers report published in 2021 by the US State Department, North Korea has probably spent around $4 billion on its defense in 2019. As a proportion of its GDP, this makes it the most militarized country in the world. In short, despite international sanctions between Rolls-Royces, lobster, armored fortresses, and missiles, Kim Jong-un leads the good life of a dictator. For their part, still deprived of fundamental freedoms and suffering from food shortages, the North Korean people don't seem to be Kim's priority.